Howdy everyone. All right, you can see that I've got this left wheel fairing and is now installed, and it works out actually pretty good. The biggest problem, like I said, for me was getting the interface between these two pieces together. As I said, the holes are pre-molded into the carbon fiber. They're pre-molded with the dimples already on them. So you don't have any control over where the holes are going to be. And when I had put them together initially and put a couple clecos in, I had a really large gap. So I just kind of continued that gap all the way around. It's quite a bit larger than I would like it to be. It's, like I said, it's at least 1/8 of an inch. But there's nothing I can do about it. But this piece fits underneath this piece. So I had to take a lot of material out from underneath this piece where it mates. I had to take a lot of material out, and then this piece, the flange that actually has nut plates on it, that flange I also had to take some material off so that I can get these holes aligned. If you take material off, that affects how the two pieces go together around the circumference, and that will help bring those holes into alignment. That was very, very tedious. But that was the biggest problem that I've had. The mounting holes, the holes, again, that are molded in the pieces that mount to the actual bracket. So there's two here, there's two on the back side, there's these two here, and two on the other side. Those holes were absolutely perfect. The back bracket hard mounts to the wheel, so there's no variation in that. Everything is already pre-drilled and pre-made, and that just gets bolted to the back side, and then these get bolted to that bracket and to this front bracket, and the holes lined up perfectly. This fairing is now in perfect alignment, both in this orientation as well as this orientation. And now that I think about it, let's see, this orientation is right. This orientation. Anyway, it's perfectly aligned. It looks really, really good. And it's all thanks to everything being pre-punched and the way that the brackets are made and how they mount. So there's no variation. So, with that said, this is done, except I have to bond the back tail piece permanently to this. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to do both wheel pants at the same time. So I'm going to move on to the other side, and it should go a little bit quicker now that I kind of have a feel for what needs to be done. So let me get started on that, and if I remember and I want to take the time, I'll show you some inner workings with these wheel pants when I'm working on the other side. Okay, talk to you guys later. Alrighty, so I am now working on the right side wheel pant, and I just want to point out a couple of things while I've got this mostly exposed. Again, it's just like any other wheel pant. It's a lot of fitting and taking apart and refitting, taking apart, trimming, all of that good stuff, right? But what's really nice about these, like I said many times, the bracket back here is hard mounted to the axle. That bracket is pre-made, it's pre-drilled, and that basically sets up your alignment for the rest of it. The pant itself, both back and front halves are pre-drilled, so it's just a matter of trimming this until you can get it slid back all the way to get the screws in. There are 2 screws here on the inside. There are 2 more screws on the outside. This outside bracket, this bracket here is held with a single bolt in the center, so it will tend to rotate, but you can use that to your advantage. tighten up this bolt enough so that this won't move very easily. Since this rear bracket here is permanently attached with 4 bolts to the axle, it will not move. So get your pant bolted into this back bracket that's immobile. And then when you come around to this side, it's just a matter of rotating this bracket ever so slightly to help get these 2 bolts in place. Once you have these internal bolts secured, and you've got these bolts secured without any stress, they run in and out really nice, that will set the angle for this bracket to be in place. So now I can tighten up this bracket nice and snug, and then this will give me the alignment for the back half and also to mate the back half to this front. Another thing, like I had talked about many times, is you have to make sure that your brake line, however you do the brake line, I've used the soft aluminum hard tubing. Hard tubing, that's great. The soft aluminum tubing, and again, you just want to make sure that it clears inside of the wheel fairing. And of course, you want it to not rub on any of these brackets on the inside, and your caliper itself needs to be free to move. Okay, I don't know if you'll be able to see, I've got some clearance between the tire itself and the wheel pant down in there. This is not trimmed to the final dimension. I'm just making sure I've got enough room that the pant itself doesn't touch anything. With it in its current configuration, there is some movement. So if it is rubbing on the tire, you may be able to get your screws in, but if it's rubbing against the tire, it's still going to be slightly distorted. And when you go to fit the back half into place, then you may have alignment issues. You also want to make sure you have clearance around your gear leg and your brake line. Just make sure that the only thing this thing is touching and resting against are the mounting brackets. All right? So now that I've got that roughly fitted, I'm going to go ahead and start fitting the back half. The back half, just like the front, it will fit on here very nicely, and the mounting holes will line up just perfect. It's getting these matching holes around the perimeter that's really difficult. So I'm going to tackle that next. Talk to you guys later.